Good afternoon. Thanks for being here for the Brooks Report. I'm Chrissy Roberts, and today we are talking to Raymond Smith. He is with Service Master, plus a lot of other things. And we're here to talk about some recovery work, some do's and don'ts for you. Our broadcast today is brought to you by the good folks at Altus, and we sure appreciate them. If you have any questions, you can just post them in the comments on the side, and we'll get to them in just a few minutes. But first of all, hello, Mr. Smith. Thank you for joining us.
You bet. No problem. Happy to do it.
Now, tell me about Service Master. You've been in the recovery work not only through many, many storms, but even before.
Yes, I've been in the industry for about 40 years. Been involved in most of the disasters since 1981 throughout the country. But now I own my own Service Master business. I own the Lufkin area and the Beaumont Golden Triangle area also. Decided to quit working for someone else and work for myself.
That's really great. Now, tell me, as folks are starting to get back to their homes and see any damage, what are some things that you can give any advice for us? Like, what should we do? What should we stay away from?
Well, the first thing I would do is document, as the homeowner returning, document your claim. It's up to you as the homeowner to really present your claim. And so you want to take a lot of pictures, take videos, and anything like that, in any inventories that you can take. I know it may be difficult under these conditions, but you just want to begin the documentation process. Eventually, you're going to get referred to someone like myself, and we'll be more than happy to help you with that process or help the homeowner with the process. But the first thing I would do is take lots of pictures.
After we take the pictures, say folks get back and they've got roof damage or something that is liable to have more problems, should you wait for your adjuster before you do anything?
Well, that's something that's certainly a little debatable, but my recommendation is this: if you're with one of the primary carriers, someone like Farmers or State Farm or Allstate, they have approved vendors that they're going to refer you to work through the program. And if they refer you to an approved vendor, my recommendation is don't wait. Let the vendor get to work, because if you want to wait for the adjuster with COVID-19, all the different problems that we're having now, he may not come out for days, even weeks. And every day that passes in our environment with the humidity and just the outside environment that we have here in Southeast Texas, you potentially are probably going to have a major mold problem, and there's no reason for it if a person like myself can get to work.
Just adding insult to already damaged.
Adds insult to injury, no doubt.
Yeah, yes, sir. Okay, so if you have roof damage or something, covered up with tarps, get it clean.
You definitely want to get it covered with tarps. You want to stop any further damage that, here it could rain any day. So you certainly don't want any more rain in the home than what's already probably gotten there during the storm itself.
Now, tell me, how is this storm different with COVID-19?
Well, the main difference is that we want to go out, but we also want to be sure that we're safe in going out and sending our crews. Even pre-storm, there's a lot of things in place for our protection, like the masks and the 6 feet apart. And we still want to maintain that type of precaution throughout the claim until COVID-19 is taken care of. But it makes it a little more of a challenge, because there's just some homeowners that, they've got respiratory problems, things that are susceptible to COVID-19 not contamination. I'm used to talking my language, but COVID-19, infection or that whatever. And we just don't want to. We're checking our guys every day, so we know when we send someone out that we're not sending you someone that has any of the symptoms or whatever. But a funny quick story is we have gone out though and met with homeowners who then wanted to tell us afterwards that they had been exposed, and so that puts
Oh,
our people in quarantine for 14 days. So we just want
mhm.
to make sure that we do ask those questions, or we try to, and we just want to make sure that everyone is practicing precaution just as we are.
How has it how have you seen so far it make a difference as far as adjusters?
Adjusters, well, most of the carriers at this time are not sending their their staff adjusters out into the field. Um, they're depending on people like myself because we have that type of relationship. Um they're depending on us to be their eyes and ears. And then with the adjusters, a lot of the adjusters were doing video conferencing, kind of like we're doing now with Zoom, and we do the walkthrough and show the adjusters, all of the damaged areas, and so they can make a pretty good report off of it.
Okay.
And that's where you have the advantage of using a contractor that's on the approved vendor list for whichever insurance company that you have. If you use a contractor that per se maybe isn't familiar with uh, the vendors list or is not a member of the approved vendors list, then that can create some problems sometime. But the main thing is just is having that relationship with the adjuster where there's a trust factor to when we go out and we're allowed to be their eyes and ears and go through the video conferencing, and everything is approved for the homeowner and they don't get any surprises.
Great. Now, with Service Master in particular, what kind of work do you do?
Well, we're of course, a fire and water damage cleanup business. We do a lot of other things as well, such as carpet cleaning and things like that in a day-to-day business. But our primary business is fire and water damage restoration. Uh, we are a member of, since we are a franchise, I do own the franchise for this territory, and so we are a franchise. If we get more than what we can handle, then we have the network of over 1,500 other franchises that we can bring in to assist and to help us, so that we're sure that homeowners are getting approved vendors and people that are familiar with the insurance program, the insurance protocol. And so that as but as far as local, we do everything from the emergency mitigation, where we just come out and assess and begin to do the accounting of the damage as well, and we do pack outs. In other words, we pack up all the homeowners' belongings. We take them to our facility.
Mhm.
We handle and all the way through to the rebuild. We can do the tarp. We can cover your roof. We can do the rebuild if you need repairs. Rebuild is a funny thing because I'm not the type of guy that really pushes it. And the reason I don't is because there's just so many homeowners that have existing relationships with a contractor that they've worked before. And I'd rather do the mitigation and restoration work, get it ready for rebuild. And then if you have a preferred contractor that you've worked with in the past and you know they do good work, then hey, I don't want to interrupt that. But if you don't have a contractor and you're looking for somebody to work with, then we do that type of work and offer that service.
Now, through other storms in the past, sometimes you'll have guys come by and they're from a different town, maybe way off, or a area code you don't even recognize, and they're there to fix the problem. Then after folks leave, they can't find them. They might have a roof, but it leaks worse than the other. there've been a lot of problems with that. Do you have any comments on that?
Well, I can just say I can refer back to Hurricane Rita, because
Okay.
Hurricane Rita, of course, we know came through Beaumont, caused a lot of damage. I was the local service master franchise, and there were probably 50 to 60 other service master franchisees that came in to assist us. It was, as you may or may not
I remember.
remember, but it was a lot of damage,
Yes, sir.
and so they came in and assisted us. And the thing that you have by using a named reputable company, and certainly someone is familiar with the program, is once my contractor leaves, because really he's just another service master business. Once he leaves, I'm still responsible, and I take care of any problems that he or she may have. That can't be said with everybody. Certainly, there's a lot of people who prey on this type of situation. They come
Mhm.
in, they try to make as much money as fast as they can make it, and then get out of town. And unfortunately, since I have been in the industry for about 40 years, I can tell you one nightmare story after another. And um, we obviously we're here before the storm, and we're going to be here after the storm. And so, you know, certainly I want you to use me if at all possible, or another local company that when everything is said and done, you've got somebody that's going to come back and take care of any problems that you may have. We guarantee our work. Um, Most people I know say, well, I guarantee my work too, but then, like you say, they're gone after a couple of months, and what's that guarantee worth at that time?
And just for the record, this is not a advertisement for Service Pro. This is just the resource in the industry that we
Service
turn to.
master.
Service Master. See, that's what I'm doing. This is
That's
not
okay.
an advertisement for Service Master because, but you are the resource in the area as far as disaster. Because even before Service Pro, I mean, you've even done work for the Pentagon. I hear.
We've Service Master has been involved in many large projects in the last 25 years, and yes, we've been involved. We were one of the first responders, and was the primary contractor at the Pentagon. There were other contractors that were there,
Mm,
but we were the primary contractor for the Pentagon. I personally have worked for the companies that have been involved in the World Trade Center bombing, the first bombing. I could go back to the early '80s, and when I first got in the industry, to tell you about many more jobs. But yeah, it's a fun industry. It's one that you either love or you hate as a contractor like myself. It seems like, but if you really love the business, then the main thing you love is getting in, and you see a home or a business that is just totally destroyed. You've got a homeowner that has two types of damage. They've got a physical damage, and they got psychological damage, and it's
absolutely.
and it's up to me and my crew to try to address both of those. And I enjoy the fact that you get it, it's all messed up and looks bad, and the homeowner really sees no, or business owner sees no, really light at the end of the tunnel. And then after a few days or a few weeks, when we get everything back in store for them, and then they're very happy, and they see that it was, in the end, it was worth it.
Well, now, Mr. Smith, let's address some of the comments that have come in. And I don't know if you're going to want to, you don't have to address these if you don't want to, because they don't seem to be so much questions as comments. First, hi, Belinda. Second, Timothy says, your insurance agent recommending a vendor or contractor is a conflict of interest. Is that your experience or is that a myth?
No, it is not a conflict of interest. If it was a conflict of interest, believe me, the state insurance commission wouldn't allow it. The thing that everybody needs to, or that a homeowner needs to remember, is they are welcome to use anybody that they want to use. And just because the insurance company sends out a vendor, uh, that doesn't mean that they have to use that vendor. It just means that they're sending out a resource that can get the job done, who will guarantee their work, uh, and the insurance company will guarantee their work,
Mhm.
and uh, so it's not something that they don't have to use me or a company like mine that's a preferred vendor. But if it was a conflict of interest, I can assure you that Texas State Insurance Commission would not allow it to happen.
Well, thank you. I hope that addresses your comment, Timothy. Also, we do have a question. This is from Joanne. By the way, she gave you a very long, she was talking great about you in a very long comment that we'll leave for folks to read.
Uh-oh.
But her question is, how is equipment sanitized after they clean like a nursing home?
Well, of course, the equipment when it comes back to the shop is, I'm gonna say is supposed to be, because I believe we do it every time. But all of our equipment is sanitized with a a sanitizer that usually is a hospital grade. But we change filters, we wipe down all the outer housing, all the inner housing that is accessible, and just get it ready to go for the next time. And so far, knock on wood, we haven't had any problems.
Are you finding any differences in what you're doing now versus pre-COVID-19?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, that's good. Well, I think the main message we're bringing today is be very careful of the contractors that you do associate with. Yes?
I would say yes, be very careful. You just don't know. I mean, there's a lot of contractors that come in from out of town that are really, honestly, are good contractors. And they see an opportunity to help and they want to come help. They have the right motivation, I guess, right heart for what they're trying to do. But I would be very wary. And if you do use an out of town contractor, I would, while I don't really recommend it, I would just make sure I have all of their information and that I sent them through a very stringent vetting process.
Okay.
And
So if someone's going to use someone from out of town, what kind of vetting process would that be? I mean, besides looking on the internet.
Well, certainly social media and the internet is something that
Sure.
is our resource for us now that we didn't have back in my beginning days when we only had pagers.
Right.
But I would call references. I would check to see if they really do have an office in Timbuktu or wherever it is they are coming from.
Okay.
I would research whether that's an active office or if it's just a mailbox, and things like that. You can never be too overly cautious in that situation because you're going to spend a lot of money with them. The
Sure.
homeowner is trusting that this person is going to put their life back in order. And if you are going to put that trust in them, take that few hours that it would take to really vet that person to confirm that they really can do and they really are legitimate, and before you ever sign a contract with them. And
Some
if
people are
you
just so desperate to get back in their house.
they're desperate,
They're
and
just
then
going to go
guys like
ahead and
me, yes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but then guys
Mhm.
like me are, we're busy. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no reason to say we're not, but we are doing our best to get to everybody within a timely period. That's another thing with being a preferred vendor. There are timelines and guidelines that we have to adhere to, and if I can't adhere to those guidelines, then I have to turn the job back to the carrier.
Mhm.
And so I don't like to turn anything back if I can keep from it, for sure. But that's yeah, that can be a real issue. So anyway,
Most of the work that you're doing right now, is it in Orange and Bridge City? Are you making your way over to Louisiana? How's the restoration going? And
yes,
is there any particular order?
Orange. No, not in any. Our first calls begin to come in Louisiana,
Mhm.
and but no, we've gotten calls in Orange and Bridge City and all the way up Newton over into Louisiana as far away as Alexandria.
Mm-hmm.
as far north as Natchitoches. So we've got a big
You're
footprint
out
that
there.
we're stepping on. So we've tried to respond to everyone that we can. There's been a few that were just tarp jobs where we couldn't get there. I'm speaking in Alexandria, Louisiana specifically, where we couldn't get
Mhm.
there in the time frame that they wanted us to get there, and so they went with someone else, and we certainly respect that. I believe me, I like to do all the work I can do, but if you have someone else or you want to work with someone else, I respect that. There's no problem with from my end.
Well, I certainly appreciate your time. I'll let you get back to your busy schedule. But the takeaway from this, of course, is that Service Master is a preferred vendor for a lot of insurance companies, and that's good to know. Didn't know that before. Don't wait when it comes to any damage that you may have in your house. Go ahead and seal that up with our Southeast Texas, Southwest Louisiana weather, and make sure that you know who you're working with. Make sure you
That's
look
it.
them up, do a little research, right?
That's it. That's a good
All
summary
right.
of what I would certainly recommend.
Raymond Smith, thank you for your time. We appreciate you very much. Our
You bet.
broadcast
Thank
today
you.
on the Brooks Report is brought to you by Altus. Thank you for watching the Brooks Report.